Hi again, everyone. I'm 2 News Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony. Maybe you've heard by now that some experts expect this year the El Nino could be what they call a Godzilla El Nino. And talking with the folks from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration today, you get the sense this is going to be a really strong, perhaps maybe the second strongest El Nino in the history of record keeping. And here I'm going to try to go over exactly what El Nino is and how it impacts Oklahoma's weather when it comes to the winter and again into spring. So let's start here by taking a look at El Nino getting stronger. And essentially what El Nino is, it's a warming of the equatorial waters in the Pacific Ocean between Darwin, Australia and the coast of South America. So that area that I have labeled there in red. And those waters are warming. In fact, right now they're sitting at about 2 degrees above average. And that warmer air, warmer water expands to the north. Of course, when it expands to the north, it's changing the global wind patterns, and then that changes the weather patterns as we go across the United States. So in the wintertime, we most likely will have this type of a setup where the winds are flowing from the southwest across the southern plains and down into the southeast. Now that suppresses hurricane development, but it also means wetter than average weather for the southern United States, including Oklahoma. And at this point, it's the second strongest El Nino on record. So here are a few facts about this. It's the second behind 1997. The ocean water temperatures are currently 2 degrees above normal, and they need to be at least 1.5 degrees Celsius for a stretch of 3 months. In fact, it's 5 consecutive periods of 3 months, and we have indeed met that, and will likely meet it by the time we make it through the end of August. All right, so here are some possible impacts for Oklahoma. The autumn, we won't feel any impact. There should be no impact at all. So whatever forecast, whatever weather we get, we're going to get not as a result of an El Nino weather pattern. But we should, as we head into winter, have a wetter and cooler weather pattern, and it could last into the spring of 2016. So what I did is I looked back at some of the stronger El Ninos of 1997 and 98 and 1982 and 83, and you'll notice that we don't have a whole lot of snowfall in those two strong El Nino years. In fact, we were not a lot cooler. We were the 30th warmest when it came to the temperatures, and when it came to the temperatures in 1982-83, we were only 20th warmest. So it's definitely not a cold weather pattern. It tends to be mild until we get to the spring. We look at some of this data from the spring, and you'll notice that, yes, we continue with that wetter than average pattern, especially in 97, 98, but we were only 36th coldest. However, in 1982 and 83, it was the 7th coldest spring on record with an average temperature of only 57.2. So each El Nino sets up differently. By no means does it look like that's going to be, set in stone that we're going to have that type of a situation. But typically, when we come to wintertime, we're talking about a wetter than average weather pattern for Oklahoma and cooler temperatures than average, which you would think would add up to snow. But the data that I've looked at certainly doesn't support that. We'll keep an eye on El Nino for you, and of course have updates as we get into the fall and the winter. Thanks for stopping by KJRH.com.